Kong has unveiled its largest stimulus package in a decade to help ride out an economic slump. $15 billion will be spent from 1st of April, doubling this year's allocation.
我決定推出大規模嘅逆周期措施，涉及超過1200億元，盡力回應市民嘅期望。縱使下年度嘅財政預算會出現歷來最高嘅赤字，但我相信唯有咁樣做，先至能夠喺市民同埋企業努力克服難關之際，為大家提供幫助。
And to deal with the fallout from political protests and the virus outbreak, Mr. Chan has promised subsidies, including cash payouts of nearly $1,300 to permanent residents aged over 18 years old. There will also be low-interest loans for small business with full government guarantee, as well as removing tax on profits. And then there'll also be more cash for two sectors hit hard by COVID-19. Healthcare gets almost $10 billion, while the Hong Kong Tourism Board will receive an extra $90 million to set up promotion when the epidemic is over. But Mr. Chan has emphasized these are one-off relief measures that can't go on forever. The package is expected to bring about a record-high deficit for the next financial year at 4.8% of the country's GDP. Now, making things worse is the city's first recession in a decade. The economy contracted nearly 3% in the fourth quarter. And Mr. Chan says the need to find new revenue sources for Hong Kong's trade and tourism-dependent economy is essential.
香港嘅經濟因過去多月嘅社會事件同埋新型冠狀病毒疫情受到沉重打擊。面對經濟下行，預期來年政府嘅收入會減少，政府必須審慎理財，確保財政穩健。但係我相信喺經濟不景氣同埋社會氣氛沉重嘅時候，即使係面對財赤， 政府亦都應該要多做一啲。
And for more on Hong Kong's financial blueprint, we're joined by Andrew Shun, Research Director of the Lion Rocket Institute. Andrew, thanks for joining me. So, you know, Hong Kong's politicians from across the political divide, they're already now saying that this budget has failed to address the city's pressing issues. You know, do you agree with them? What's your take?
Well, I'm usually more cynical about politicians than government officials, or equally cynical, both of them. But in this particular case, it's true. But the politicians themselves should know that there is nothing the budget can do to, say, lower the body temperature of a feverish patient or maintain its blood oxygen level. So this is truly a textbook case of exogenous shock to the economy, the COVID-19. But the government response so far, beyond the fiscal response, has been extremely disappointing to the people of Hong Kong. If you look at the opinion polls, the failure to block further entrance of mainlanders into Hong Kong being one of the biggest lightning rods. So there really is not much on the fiscal side from a public policy angle for the government to do to revive the economy. I would say that a discovery of a vaccine to COVID-19 would do much more to resuscitate Hong Kong economy than whatever the government can propose. I mean, 10,000 Hong Kong dollars for every permanent resident would simply mean that the face mask that is already in shortage will be sold at an even higher price.
All right, so that's not going to be enough to perhaps ease the financial burden and boost consumer spending with this, you know, $10,000 that translates to about $1,300 US?
Well, one of the biggest problems is a lot of the spending is done by consumers in Hong Kong through services, and if the COVID-19 doesn't end, then no one is going to step out of the streets. I mean, I can see that a lot of these $10,000, which will be deposited straight into people's bank accounts, will be staying there for a while. So it really is dependent on the actual virus outbreak itself, and there isn't much that even the tourism industry can do, because it is obvious that it's turning into a global pandemic. So and Hong Kong people are extremely suspicious. This is a continuation, in fact, of the social unrest we've seen since June last year, which is the total distrust distrust and mistrust of the central government of China. The Lion Rock Institute did an opinion poll over the weekend that asked people of Hong Kong whether they trust the data from China, and the majority said no. Over 60–70% said no. And then by extension, we also asked any organizations such as the World Health Organization, people or organizations that rely on these data, are they themselves having their credibility questioned by the people of Hong Kong? Another majority said yes, they are not credible. So this is a crisis that needs to be resolved medically. So there is nothing the economy can do. But if the government was to say that they were able to set up funding that would successfully source medical equipment, for example, that would do much more than just simply putting money into people's bank account to revive the economy.
All right, so you're saying that there are no other new revenue sources that Hong Kong can tap into to actually get out of its economic rut now?
It's a confidence on a constitutional level rather than an economics level. The 2003 SARS epidemic in Hong Kong wasn't the actual virus itself that shook confidence. It was the way that the government handled it that did. The government is doing a much better job, to be honest. If you see the situation with COVID-19 right now, Hong Kong and Singapore actually are the two jurisdictions, I think, that is doing the best, because even though that these two areas led in cases earlier, other jurisdictions have overtaken them. So in Hong Kong, it's more the people themselves being much more prepared than in 2003, especially psychologically for this particular hit. So therefore, the transmission rate is much lower. So I'm actually quite confident that this organic preparation done by the people of Hong Kong will also lead it out of a recession fastest of all the jurisdictions hit by COVID-19. But unless and until a cure or a vaccine, or maybe the weather changes and the virus dies itself, there will not be any changes to Hong Kong's economic prospect. But on the prospect of asset prices in Hong Kong, especially property prices, you see continuation of easing by central bank, especially the American central bank and also the mainland Chinese central bank, which directly affects Hong Kong's money supply. That might be a prop for Hong Kong's property prices, but otherwise, organically within the economy, I'm extremely pessimistic. But the people of Hong Kong, through the social unrest since June, is actually perversely much more prepared than the rest of the world for this recession.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much for speaking to us. We've been speaking to Andrew Xuan, Research Director of the Lion Rock Institute.